Oh, it's here. My tariffs are here, and I, Donald J. Trump, am going to ruin the comic book industry. Stay tuned.
Well, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Donald J. Trump, the American president, the man who thinks he's going to crush Canada, has gone ahead with his latest tariffs, and they're about to hit the comic book industry and bleeding cool. Rich Johnson is going to explain it all to you. Now, some of this I may read in my Donald Trump voice because why not? We're going to build the wall. It's going to be made of ice. We're going to make the Canadians pay for it. So yesterday, President Donald Trump announced a new range of tariffs across the world, labeled reciprocal tariffs. What does that mean? It means you charge me, I charge you. It's reciprocal. But they were anything but. A list of claimed fictitious tariffs were placed against the U.S., and Trump listed his own tariffs back. Generally, around half of the fictitious ones, and comic book publishers look to be hit hard. That's right. I'm going to smack all them small press publishers. I'm not going to bury them into the ground. As it stands, American comic publishers seem to have been avoiding the threatened tariffs on comics printed by Canadian publishers. That'd be me. But they have already been dealing with 20% tariffs on comics published in China. That would be them. Often on larger, high-end collections such as omnibuses, but also many, many trade paperbacks, graphic novels, and the like. And also, let me stop there. If you're printing in China, chances are you're doing offset printing. You're not just printing 50 copies of your book to bring to a convention. You're probably printing the book in the thousands, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Hey, I use Comics Wellspring. We do print on demand. It's just like, hey, I need 50 copies of this book. Boom, let's do it. The promised 34% tariff is an addition to the previous 20%, making it a 54% tariff on all manner of comic book collections, including those that have been printed and are on the way. Dave Campiti of Glasshouse Graphics posted, Trump has just announced a 34% tariff on goods from China, torpedoing my already completed Kickstarter, raising thin profit margins. And so this is what's got to be looked at, right? If you are doing the math and you're doing a Kickstarter and you say, okay, I have X amount of people I need to mail to these countries, and this is what it's going to cost, and this is what I budgeted for, and now you need more money, yeah, you might be fucked. You might be fooked, okay? Always, 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 and this goes regardless of tariffs, all right? Make sure you have more money you need for shipping than it actually takes, because chances are you miscalculate it somewhere, or there's going to be a price hike, or something else is going to go foobar, and you will need that extra money. Rule number 1, and I have lots of them. My already funded Kickstarter awaiting printed books to be shipped out to me next week will now collectively lose a small fortune. It might actually be cheaper to pay off the printer, trash the books, and refund every Kickstarter buyer. It is cheaper to do that. Yep. Yeah, you're better off to do that. And I'll tell you who else has to do that. And that, you know, it doesn't give me any joy to say it, but Max DeVille has to refund a book. He was talking about that on my show the other night. He's got a book that if he was to go ahead and produce it now, print it, ship it, it would cost more for him to do that than it would be just to refund the Kickstarter. Yeah. We're at that stage now, ladies and gentlemen, where you really got to be mindful of the business aspect of this and not so much the novelty of, hey, I'm making a comic, yay, look at me. No, you're in a business now. And it means you got a number crunch, and it means you got to get your shit together. My classic comic book spinner rack shipments will be impacted just as badly. My mind boggles on how much financial damage this will cause. Additionally, figurines and merchandise will also be hit. Reagan Clem of Summon Comics in Lansing, Michigan, posted simply, Funkos, 30%, 46%, I should say, not even 36, 46% tariff. Enough said, right? The UK products were hit with a 10% tariff on everything, which includes the things of like 2000 AD, Judge Dredd, Conan the Barbarian, Blade Runner, Doctor Who magazine, Phoenix Comic Weeklies, and more. Titan Comics and the like. Unless they print in Canada and can ship direct. See, Canada really did, we skipped underneath the radar where a lot of these tariffs. Not all of them. I mean, our auto industry is certainly being struck. I think our pharmaceuticals is being struck. But comic book wise, I don't know. As far as the nature of the tariffs, I knew they were wrong from the start. UK does not have 10% tariffs against the US. The European Union does not have a 39% tariff against the US. They are fairly close, around 3% on the average across a number of industries. So where did all these make-believe numbers that Trump could rail against come from? Here's the answer. They took the trade deficit between the US and the country on goods alone, not services, and divided it by the goods exports from the US to that country. So it sounds like we're going to get into a lot of mathematics here. So I'm not going to bother reading this whole diatribe of how they came up with their numbers. Okay, they talk about trade deficits with other countries, exports, this and that. They go on to say, throw in any territory that has no trade deficit or indeed has a trade surplus with the US, such as UK, and is getting across the board a hit 10% tariff. And add this, and suddenly all the figures make more sense. Expose exactly what's going on here and explain why the penguins are being hit. The penguins are also being hit with 10%. Yeah, apparently there's an area where they're charging a 10% tariff and there's like no one that lives there. Crazy. The thing is, there's an argument to be made, and you can make it, about targeting countries that have good deficits with the U.S. in order to bolster the U.S. manufacturing base and services. Be damned. But why not say that's what it is? Why lie and say that it's the other country's tariffs that you're targeting rather than economy doing thing better than you? And tariffs are being used to balance that deficit. Either there is a belief that American people won't understand, or more, that the person presenting the policy doesn't understand. Because of these not reciprocal tariffs, they are revenge tariffs against the free market. I like that. Revenge tariffs. I think I'm going to put that in the title. But not only one part of it, now tariffs and other taxes can play an important part in the economy and can be very useful with dealing with market irregularities and unforeseen outcomes and trying to nudge people in one direction or another. However, blanket tariffs like this have a tendency to create some very strange outcomes. And for a comic book industry that's facing many challenges right now, the outcome doesn't look like they will be good ones. And of course, here's a whole list of the tariffs, countries. I mean, you got Guatemala there, Madagascar, Egypt, Laos, Pakistan, China, Japan. Some crazy stuff going on here. I don't know exactly how it's going to affect me personally. I won't know that until I start placing orders and start mailing shit out. Then we're going to find out really quickly if this is something I personally need to worry about. But it's not just about me, right? It's about the entire comic book industry. And I feel bad for comic book shops that may, feel the brunt of this, publishers that may feel the brunt of this. Hell, people that just, manufacture the paper feeling the brunt of this. No one wants to pay extra for anything, right? Especially when it comes to comic books. They're already expensive enough. Like we heard the guy, Bruce from Alliance, say that he doesn't have any interest in selling $5 products. Well, here's the problem with that, Bruce, and to everyone else that agrees with him. Comic books are already too expensive. No one wants to pay $4.99 for a floppy. So even if you were to sell them for that, that's part of the problem anyway. We want books for $1.99, $2.99, right? That's how you actually save the direct market comic book industry, is by lowering the prices so that the barrier of entry isn't so expensive. But they don't do that. No, everything goes up in price. We can't make anything cheaper because we want kids to buy comics. Kids generally don't have a lot of money, so they need to be cheap for the parents to get for the kids. I don't understand the problem here. The problem, if Todd McFarlane can charge $2.99 a book for Spawn, there was no reason why Marvel and DC could not do the same, but they're not going to. In fact, every company now is going to use this as an excuse to up prices on you, the comic book fan and the comic book reader. I mean, at this point, why even bother having a pull list? Just go hand pick what you think are going to be the investment issues, the money issues, flip them, and fuck the rest, right? Just wait for the trades and omnibuses. That's what people say. Well, the problem is if you don't buy the floppies, the trades and omnibuses don't get made. Why? Because I've proven that the floppy couldn't sell, so what makes you think the trade is going to sell? Plus, you need the material for the trade to begin with. Look, I may be just shooting out of my ass here, but these Trump tariffs suck. The whole industry sucks right now. Everything in comic books is essentially falling apart. And the only way that you can help save a small publisher, a small guy like me, is to come and buy from us directly. Right now, that's the only recourse. And you can do that with my Kickstarter. And here's my sponsor to tell you all about it. And just who is today's sponsor? Well, it's me, Austin. It's been me all along. And I'm just here to let you know that Nyobi Outbreak number 4 is on its last week on Kickstarter here. We've been running this in late pledges, aka in demand now, for the last couple of weeks. And we're glad that we've had 8 new backers come in and join us on the fun. And it's not too late. You can come in and back this for another week or so, and then it is going to get shut down because we just can't leave it open forever, right? We need to get the ball rolling. We need to get the ball moving. So come on in and help us out. There are 10 great covers to choose from, including Juan Antonio Altaveras right here. How about LC Fritas featuring Adana? What about this great cover from Locke Wynn right here? How about the cover from the Sensei, Ben Dunn, founder of Antarctic Press and the creator of Warrior Nun and Ninja High School, with our X-Men homage? Bucket list artist Ali Garza right here. How about the Master, Keith Garvey? How about Narcilio Souza with the Dance Till You Drop set right here? Great triple set cover that you can pick up for another week or so, only right here on Kickstarter. And to top it all off, this epic cover by Image alumni, known for his work on Evangeline and Lady Pendragon, Scarlet Crush, and so much more, Mr. John Stinsman. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go here. We got the pages done. We're working on the coloring of the last few. We're going to be 2 months early, not 4 years late. So why don't you jump in now, catch up on all things Nyobi. We have everything you need. If you missed out on the past, if you're missing a variant cover, that sort of stuff, come in, take a look. Things are starting to sell out, including some of the signature series, including some of the original sketch cards that we have on the go. You do want these. They're gorgeous. They're awesome. And again, only available for another week or so. So pull the trigger, pull it now, and we'll see you soon.